half of them got their own bread or been in the entertainment industry, have flown all over the place. You get you a regular girl, she ain't been nowhere, she ain't got no money. Regular women, and most women regular women. But at the same time, y'all don't want to be classified as regular. You don't want to be looked at as regular. And just because
Oh my God. See, I'm laughing, but that's the truth. Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. Mike here, your host. Today we are looking at Black Macho. Um, I recently discovered this channel, and the host has said that this channel is about men and women coming together. Although, man, if you read some of the comments that's in her videos, woo-wee. But anyway, this is her take on the Ayala and Ebony K. Williams debacle. Is all I can call it, because I didn't cover it here. If you want to know my thoughts on that, you're gonna have to go check out. I was on some other channels at that point, so I can't remember which one. I didn't want to make a video about it because I didn't think it was worth it. But I did discuss it on some other channels. If I'm not mistaken, you got to go to my community tab to see when that happens. So let's go ahead and get started. See what we got.
I do feel like how black women measure men is interesting to me, and I want to talk about this specific clip I saw of Ayanna Van Zant recently, and she was on some show, and I can't even remember. You know how I am with names; I'm like really fucked up with it. She was on a show with this one host, and the host was saying all of the typical narratives that black women say on social media about black women, and she was talking to Ayanna Van Zant, and Ayanna Van Zant says to her, I think that you, black women, you basically just measure men incorrectly. And she basically asked the host, like, would you date a bus driver? And so the host is like, well, if he owned the bus, right? And so Yana is like, nah, I don't mean like that. Answer the question, yes or no, would you date a bus driver? And she said, if he owned the bus. And she said, well, that's the difference between me and you, because I will date a man who has a good character and good integrity if he enjoys driving buses. It's different when you look at it that way. A lot of women are looking at what a man does professionally as their only reason to be with him, as a measurement of whether or not he is good enough for them. But you're measuring him kind of incorrectly just because a man is a bus driver or a trash man or some of these blue collar jobs that y'all think that maybe because he has a blue collar job, he's not educated. It doesn't mean that he's not a good dude. And y'all, I don't hear a lot of y'all saying, oh, I just want a good man. Oh, I just want a good man. A lot of y'all are just saying, oh, I want a wealthy man, as if all wealthy men are good. Now, it's important to recognize that measuring the worth of a man is complicated and it's a subjective manner. And there's no definitive answer as to how you measure a man's worth. Each woman is different, okay? I'm hearing a lot of y'all say a man's wealth is the only thing that matters, but at the end of the day, when y'all two dealing with each other, his wealth on an everyday regular basis pushed to the side outside of that, you're going to have other issues inside of that situation if his wealth is all that you are concerned about.
I agree. Yeah, if you guys notice, if you've been watching my other videos, you know I've usually paused it a couple times by this point because we're halfway through this. I don't have anything different to say. Although I will say this, for those of you who are wondering, well, why are we watching this? Because you said that you covered every case, or you said that it wasn't worth covering. Because I've seen some of the Black Macho podcasts, and one of the things that's missing in our community is women holding women accountable, women calling other women out, and that's exactly what we're watching right here. Now, whether she's right or wrong, I don't care. The most important thing is that she's seeing behavior that she thinks is, how do you say, well, not seen in a positive light, and she's calling it out. One of the biggest things that I think we get wrong as men is that we think it's our job to hold women accountable. That's a misconception. It's not your job to hold women accountable. You can only the only woman you can hold accountable is the only way you can hold a woman accountable is to put a ring on her finger, because if that would make her your responsibility. That's when you can hold a woman accountable, not before, unless you count like your family members, because then you're the patriarch in the family. But then it's still that's your responsibility. But all these, I see this a lot on too many podcasts where guys take it upon themselves and I'm gonna make you I'm gonna hold you accountable. You can't do that. Why is that? Why would that woman listen to you? You're just some guy. So this is why we need to highlight when women are holding themselves accountable, because the narrative is that it doesn't happen, but it actually does. So when we see it, we need to highlight it. That's why we're here. Let's go.
Um, it can mean different things to different people, and different individuals may have different criteria when it comes to these measurements that y'all are using. So you ever looked at a woman who is inside of a healthy marriage? She may not be with the wealthiest man in the world. He may not be a celebrity, but she happy. And I'm trying to figure out, is it that y'all want happiness from these men, or do you want wealth from these men? Or is it that you truly want both from these men?
No, what's happening is that we too many of our too many of us have been raised to be soldiers in the gender war. You don't necessarily. I'm starting to wonder if the reason why women's standards are so high is because in the back of their mind they know that most men are not going to meet them. So if my standards are that high, then I don't have to deal with men. I can just avoid it. Because let's be honest, most women and men have not been raised to work in cooperation with one another. This is why we struggle with marriage so much. With women, you can see it. It's the whole. It's very blatant now. I don't need a man. I just want one. Until you don't want one. But remember, marriage is about vows, and you vow to stay with that person through tough times and through good times. So that means, yes, that means that you have to be willing to work in cooperation with one another. But if I have these unrealistic standards, and then I say that, I don't need a man, I want one, which is a lie, because we still need each other. Men need women, women need men. But if you're saying all that, is it, you convince yourself that you don't, where do you go from there? I don't necessarily, I think a lot of women are trying to marry for happiness, and that doesn't work because you're not always going to be happy in a marriage. So let's just keep going. Let's keep going. I don't want to get off topic.
Because, I mean, listening to y'all talk, just watching you on social media, seeing y'all inside of my comment section, at the end of the day, what it's boiling down to is y'all don't care about happiness. You care about wealth. Like, if a man is broke, you don't see yourself being happy with him, as if being, not being wealthy. Not, now, let's get it clear. Let's be clear. Just because a man isn't making.
You know what? I want to stop. I want to stop this real quick because she mentioned something important. I don't think it's wealthy. I just think that most women want to be rich, because when we start using wealth, and more than likely, the inevitable part of the conversation ends up on generational wealth, and most people have a screwed up definition for that. When most people are talking about generational wealth, what they're really talking about is they want to be rich. And a lot of women see the quickest path to being rich as, I'm going to marry a rich man. That's how most women end up rich to begin with. But this notion that that's going to be easier than actually building with the man is a false narrative. Rich men get very paranoid about that, to the point where they don't just marry anybody. Especially today, most men would they'll just stay single, or they get you to sign a prenup. Either way, but yeah, we needed to define that, because that's very important. Most people don't want to build wealth, because generational wealth, most of the time, takes one generation to build. Most people just want to be rich. Most women just want to be rich, to the point where they are willing to, they're willing to marry into it, instead of trying to help the man build, because that would take actual work. So it makes it seem like women are lazy. I don't know if I would go that far, but we're gonna keep going.
$1 million a year, that doesn't mean that he's broke. And I think a lot of women feel like if a man isn't making, I don't know, $100,000 a year, y'all made that be the high value man's minimum wage. You know what I mean? The high value man's minimum wage is what, $200,000 a year. So if a man is not making $200,000 a year, he must not be a good man. But y'all not factoring in that this men who make way more than that who shitty. Like a
Yeah.
lot of these women that we see dating celebrities, we see their relationship. We see them sleep around. Neo just slept around with somebody who had a side baby. And did it occur to him that maybe he should, since he's divorced now, did it occur to him that maybe he should get with the woman that he had a side baby with? Nah, he over here on social media talking about dating regular girls. Now he wants a regular girl. He don't want celebrities. He don't want models. He don't want women who are wealthy. He want a regular girl now. Because he know if he dates a regular girl who ain't got shit, she can see something that she ain't never seen before. All of these other women that he done ran through, he done showed them everything, and half of them got their own bread or been in the entertainment industry, have flown all over the place. You get you a regular girl, she ain't been nowhere, she ain't got no money. Regular women, and most women regular women. But at the same time, y'all don't want to be classified as regular. You don't want to be looked at as regular. And just because
Oh my God. See, I'm laughing, but that's the truth. And again, this is why we're here, because women need to hold women accountable. It doesn't, like, I could go to a bunch of different, channels that are ran by men, and they'll tell you, and you hear them say most women are average and blah blah blah, you're not a 10. It doesn't mean the same when you hear a woman who is willing to make that statement. It just hits differently, especially in the eyes of women, because again, most women would be open to hear it from a woman. Most of the time, they're not open to hear it from a man, because again, soldiers in the gender war, right? You get that whole "we don't trust the men" thing. So this is why we're here, because we need both men. We need men to hold men accountable, and we need women to hold women accountable.
you regular doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means you haven't experienced what somebody who's a millionaire or a celebrity or who is financially stable or in the public eye has experienced. It seems like to me every woman want a man who's in the public eye, but you don't understand what comes with that responsibility. It's
Yeah.
not all hunky dory like you think.
And I think we've reached the end of that. Yeah, we have. So again, why are we looking at this? Well, because we need more examples of women holding each other accountable. Because the narrative is right now, the benefit of highlighting videos like this is that it helps break down the negative stereotypes that are plaguing our women. Now, ultimately, it's up to women to change their own image, because no one is going to care. The world doesn't owe you understanding. But one of those stereotypes is that women don't hold each other accountable, especially black women. But I'm finding out that this is actually untrue. What happens is it just happens behind the scenes. And I think what happens is we need to highlight more of it happening, because it actually does. So that would help that'll help do away with that negative stereotype. But the other thing that I thought was important here is that I didn't discuss it when she was talking about it, because I really wanted to make it through the end here, is that women today seem to be fixated on this number. It's 100,000, or 200,000, as she said. It doesn't matter. When honest opinion, I don't think women understand numbers like that. Now, I'm not saying that about Black Macho, this lady, because I've seen her videos where a couple videos where she actually she presents herself as somebody who has understanding about the basic level of finances. So I'm not going to say that about her, but I will say that about most women. I don't think most women know numbers like that. I think the reason that a lot of women say he needs to make $100,000 a year is because it's a nice round number. And that's just the first thing that pops into their head. Because if you start breaking it down and you start asking specific questions about it, what kind of career path would a man take that makes that kind of money? Most women don't have an answer for that. And I've seen the shows and the podcasts where they ask him that, and then all of a sudden the women who could articulate, oh, he needs to make at least $100,000 a year. What kind of jobs will pay that? Oh, I don't know. If this is the man that you're looking to marry, you don't know what kind of job he's going to have in order to meet the income requirement, the minimum income requirement at that you're asking for. It's because women don't know numbers like that. It just sounds good. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad, because if it could be bad because obviously, the majority of men don't make it that high, don't make that kind of money. But it also be good is because it means that there is room to change, which I'm hoping for, because then that means that there's still time to make improvements in our community, and there's still time to build and move forward. But guys, let me know what you think. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.